Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley and I make content about life with chronic illnesses. So if you like that type of content, make sure to subscribe down below and check that notification bell to make sure you will be notified each time I post a new video. And today's video is going to be about my experience of being in a wheelchair. Now, my experience being in a wheelchair has been quite a big roller coaster, and I will get into why. So when I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with something called mitochondrial DNA disease. It's a genetic condition, which basically means that the mitochondria energy that powers my whole body, there's not enough of it, so I get tired very easily and it triggers a bunch of other conditions, and it's very, very serious. It's not something to think light of. So before I was diagnosed, I was constantly in and out of the hospital because my mitochondrial disease triggered a condition called cyclic vomiting syndrome. It basically is what it sounds. So I was constantly in and out of the hospital, but when I was 5, I was finally diagnosed and put on medication, and for 6 years I was fine. No wheelchair. Only reminder I had was I had to take medicine every night, and that was it. But in 2012, when I was 11, with the start of puberty, I relapsed. So I was in and out of the hospital every other month to every few weeks. And as you would imagine, vomiting and just being ill and being in and out of the hospital so often, I got very, very weak. And I didn't have the strength to walk very far. I could still walk around my house, but even that was still kind of hard. But whenever I was out places, I would be in a wheelchair. It wasn't humiliating because it's such a great tool that I'm grateful that I've been able to use. But at 11 years old, that wasn't very easy. Luckily, at the beginning of 2013, I was put on another medication, and I didn't really have any other relapses. So I was able to build my endurance. So I was finally I worked up to be able to go everywhere without it. Well, not everywhere. For example, if I would go to like a theme park or some place that required a ton of walking, say like the mall, then I would have to use my wheelchair just so I wouldn't tire myself out, but I would be fine like walking around in stores and trying on clothes, and I was doing great. But at the beginning of 2016, my health went into a downward spiral, and I'm not going to get into it. You can see some of my videos from 2016 about it. I might link some up in the card above. But I got very, very, very weak again, but actually worse than I was before. So I had to be back in a wheelchair everywhere, and luckily I still didn't have to use a wheelchair inside my house, but whenever we went anywhere outside, I did. And for the longest time, well, since 2012, we had just a regular push wheelchair that I had put purple duct tape on and like bedazzled it. I was 11. But I mean, honestly, if you have to be in a wheelchair, at least make it look awesome. And I'm not going to lie, I think it was even harder getting used to being in a wheelchair again everywhere, just because then I was 14, 15. And it wasn't something easy, and it was kind of hard to see everyone around me being able to walk or to run or to have the strength to stand up when, like, it was kind of difficult for me to even walk around in my house even though I could. And it's not an easy thing being in a wheelchair, and sometimes I feel like people might make it out to be something it's not. Like a break, it's fun, you get pushed around, you don't have to walk, but it's so much more than that. It really limits you. Luckily, after the first 6 months of 2016, I got a lot better. My health was way more stable and I was doing a lot better. I actually got a custom wheelchair, which you've probably seen in some of my vlogs before, but I'm able to drive it myself, so I don't have to rely on anyone, and it's awesome to have that independence. I mean, it's still not easy being in a wheelchair. You kind of have to get used to being stared at. Now, I've never been confronted because I can't walk. I can get in and out of my wheelchair without a big issue. It's just I can't walk that far or that long. But I can walk and I can get up, and if I need to, I can get up from my wheelchair to grab something off a shelf like at the store. But I've definitely gotten a lot of stares, a lot of glares because they saw that we parked in the handicapped parking space with a placard and a wheelchair. But yeah, I was walking in it, and I completely understand people who aren't educated that there are so many different reasons why people are in wheelchairs, and it's not just because they can't walk. But as I've gotten more and more used to being in my wheelchair, I've gotten used to it and I really don't notice anything. But now I'm still in a wheelchair whenever I go out places. I am doing a lot better. My health is still stable, which is awesome, and I'm so grateful for that. And I am working, I'm doing PT, and I'm really trying to build up my endurance so I can start going places without my wheelchair. And I'm good walking around my house, and I am actually able to walk farther than I was this time last year, but it's still something that I have to use, and I'm grateful that I have a wheelchair that I can be independent with, and I can still go out with my friends and not have to worry about getting, well, like overdoing it physically. But I will never be able to go without a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And mitochondrial disease is very unpredictable, so I might be saying all of this great stuff now, but tomorrow can be completely different. But I just wanted to film this video to raise awareness about mitochondrial disease, and also another reason why someone could be in a wheelchair, because it's not just because we can't walk. Sometimes it's we don't have the energy to, or we walk off balance, and it's just hard for us to sustain ourselves to walk around somewhere in public, relying on our own two legs. So remember that everyone who is in a wheelchair or uses a walker, or that even just has a handicap placard, you don't judge them by how they appear. I just want to thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to click that notification bell so you will be notified. Don't forget of some of the linked videos in the cards that you can check out, and don't forget to comment anything, any questions, or just any comments, anything you would like to say down below, and I will see you in my next video on Friday.